I believe in it. There's already proof anyway. So like, let's get over the hump.
Dude, I remember, we'll talk so long.
Yeah. Ever since the nuclear bomb, they've really been coming a lot. But then they're in hieroglyphics and caves. Depictions of like UFOs. And I'm saying, take me. If you want someone, I'll go.
Hi, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Not Cool with me. Today, I'm so excited. I'm very lucky that this guest came to and take time to come on my podcast. We're just being introduced, but she is a comedian, author, actress, podcaster. You might know her from the very popular, one of the most popular podcasts on the planet since forever. Guys, we fucked. Everybody, Krystyna Hutchinson.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on
great to
the
be here.
show. You just got in town. Like, you literally, I asked Krystyna, I was like, hey, how long have you been in LA? Because you are from New York?
New York City. Yeah. I got in at 11 a.m. this morning.
Okay. I was like, welcome. It's 110 degrees in Los Angeles, California. And you came right into the Comedy Store basement.
Yeah.
Which is haunted as fuck.
Yeah. This whole place is haunted as fuck.
So when we were first talking, the first thing you felt something when you came down the basement, which we bonded immediately about.
Yeah. People were tortured in that neighboring room over there, for sure.
But you said, okay, so, all right, okay, let's back it up. We were talking before we started podcasting about mediums, about psychic mediums, about the heebie-jeebies, about ghosts, about all those, particular things. And Jen, my wife, is here, and often I don't pick up on those. And people say that you have to be, you're a high vibe person. When one animal's like you, and my dog Pegasus is here, and she loves you.
Yes, we bonded. I love her. She's amazing.
You pick up on spirits.
Yeah, and I'm a triple Pisces. That's like one of the most intuitive signs. And I don't know much about astrology, but I know a lot about my sign because I'm selfish and I want to understand myself more. Yeah. And they kind of nailed. But one of the top adjectives that's associated with Pisces is intuitive and like very spiritual. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's why. Yeah. I'm obsessed with this stuff. It's become. I've always been obsessed with it, but ever since quarantine hit, I had a lot of time on my hands, read a lot of books and watched a lot of documentaries. And I'm like, wait, we can talk to people who've died? That's insane. I need to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, but that happened during quarantine? You never had that interest or?
I always was interested. The movie Matilda really changed my life. Okay. I would watch it every day and I would try to make Cheerios move on the counter. I'm like, I know I can do this. Yeah. But something I learned about that is like a psychic phenomena that I just didn't know, because most kids are psychic. They have some type of something. Yeah. And it gets either with time or your parents, it kind of just gets ignored or washed out of you. And I could do, and I just thought it was normal and cool, but remote viewing. So I would sit on my porch. It was so weird. I would sit on my porch, and if say my mom's friend was going to come and pick me up and take me somewhere, and I was being impatient, I was like, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? And I was maybe 6, and I would sit on my porch, and I would get really quiet. I'm like, okay, and I would put myself in the back of their car. I'm like, okay, okay, this is where they are, and I would kind of calculate where they are in relation to my house, and then I would figure out, all right, they're going to turn down that street in 3, 2, 1, and they would turn, and I'm like, yes, nailed it. And I didn't think that was anything weird, but I just thought it was cool, and then I learned over the last couple of years that there's something called remote viewing that governments hire people to do. Like the Russian government very famously hires remote viewers, and the United States government, and the Montauk Project, which is this weird fucking thing where they would basically kidnap kids, traumatize them, and see if they could teach them psychic phenomena. So the movie, the show Stranger Things, that's based off of that.
Yo!
And I've been to Montauk in that place, in that creepy ass park. I did not know that was what happened. And I walked the park and I'm like, it's such a beautiful park, but it's so sad and dark. And I'm like, why? And I looked it up. I'm like, holy shit. They literally kidnap children and traumatize them to teach them how to like do remote viewing and talk to people about like all the psychic stuff.
Okay, but hold up. All right, so is this current day?
No, this was back.
I was like,
this,
wait,
yeah,
hold.
Yeah. Not current.
I was like, can we do?
It's like a rundown facility now.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm an idiot. All right.
I mean,
I'm not.
It's one
but
of the, I didn't know
happen.
about it. I was walking through the park and I'm like, why do I feel like I want to cry?
Yeah.
And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, the torture of children.
So why do they have to traumatize children? Because children already have an intuitive. Why do they have to traumatize them to build this system?
Yeah. Well, there is a theory, and I don't know about the validity of it, but there is a lot of theories about like if you've experienced trauma as a kid, you're kind of just more sensitive, so you're more open.
Okay.
So like everyone who's traumatized is a Pisces in a way.
Bless your heart. Well, because
And if you're a Pisces and you're traumatized, ding, 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 that's a jackpot.
No, you're working it though.
Yeah.
Because I went on your website and on your merch, and it was like one of the things was about like some of your merch has like the trauma about it.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
what
Children of Trauma Unite.
of Trauma
I have a
Unite.
pillow that says "Congrats on not killing yourself."
It's dark. I
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah.
So, but then it made me. So when you were talking, I was like, oh, you kind of come from that. There's a
Oh, yeah.
thread through there that you connect to. Which I mean, I don't know who doesn't have trauma. Does everybody have trauma?
Most people do. I didn't realize that.
I feel
It's
like
kind of comforting, but also like, oh, that sucks. I want people to be happy. But it gives you some gifts
yeah,
after you've worked it out,
yeah,
after you've cried
a lot.
so much.
I'm still in it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still in it, but like the amount of work that I've actually set aside and done on that, and it's still, it's
Yeah.
just-
It knocks at your door like most days.
I'm working. So you do stand-up comedy.
Yes.
Which leads me to that. And you're here actually in LA to do a show
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, the main
Awesome.
room.
How often do you come to Los Angeles?
Not often. Maybe twice a year, but I haven't come in a while. I don't even know when the last time I was here was. When I'm here, it's weird. I feel like a weird sadness when I'm here.
Okay.
Which I don't know why. Just not here in this building, but just like LA, which it's such a beautiful place. Like I don't know. That always confused me. But then I feel like I can't remember the last times I was here. Like I have to look it up on my calendar because there's this other thing that happens when I'm here that like I don't have a semblance of time. It's very strange. I don't know what that's about, but
You're not the only one who says that. It's because I'm not from Los Angeles either.
Okay.
And so whenever, I fly into LAX, the moment I touch down into the airport, I'm like, oh no.
yeah, right.
Broken dreams, you know what I'm talking about?
It does feel that, but when I land in New York, I'm like,
Yeah.
there's an electricity to New York. And I've lived there for 15 years, and every time I feel it, I'm like, okay. But every time I come here, like it feels like broken dreams. But there's so many people here whose dreams come true. So why I want that energy.
Yeah, no, but it's amazing how many times, and I've lived in Los Angeles for 21 years. I've been here a
damn.
really long time.
And the sadness just has
No,
stayed
yeah,
with you
Yes.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I don't know what it is. You just learn to acclimate and because Jen, who's on the mic, is from Los Angeles. I don't know if you feel that way, but I think I was telling her the other day, I was like, man, I've lived in this city for 21 years and there's so many parts about it that I still can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah. Of like how it makes you feel or like how it's structured or
how people operate. And maybe that's also too because I'm constantly like in the world of stand-ups or actors or people in the industry or people just constantly their goal is the nugget. Like it's not people, it's not making friends, it's not, which is great.
Yeah, it's anti-human though. It's like
Very
this,
anti-human.
It's not a grounded place to come from.
Yeah.
There's something strange about the energy here.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, maybe this time I won't feel it. And every time I do.
Yeah. I was actually going to so would you ever move here?
No, I would be by coastal, but I wouldn't want to live. I love Northern Cali. I've never been to Northern Cali. I've been to San Francisco, but I went to Big Sur with my boyfriend a couple months ago. And I was like, damn, trees. Mm-hmm. That like, talk about like you feel the vibe of where you're at. I was like, this is where everybody should be all the time.
Yeah.
Amongst trees.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because when you pick up on energies, and so it's an interest that you live in New York City, which to me, I love New York because it's so stimulating.
Yeah, it's like an Adderall.
It's an Adderall. That's why I love it. Like I love
Get work
being
done.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Because
don't need food. You get work done. You eye on the prize.
that's what I do. I love it. No one eats there. Like, it's crazy. Who has time for
We're
that?
too busy. Yeah.
No, I love it.
And the sense of
though.
urgency is high in every way. You go to Dunkin' Donuts, like, all right, get out of here, get out of here. Here you go, here you go. Like, everyone's just rushing, but I love that.
Yeah,
But
it feels
why does, because
feels
I go to
good.
New York often for work, and every time I go, I'm like,
She hates
this
it.
place is too much for me.
It makes sense though to be born here. It's the pace is totally.
Like,
I can't imagine coming from here to there. That's got to be jarring. Coming from New York to here, it's jarring in a totally different, feasible way of like, oh, I need to slow down more. But forcing somebody to like speed up that feels like it's
It's
more
fun,
friction.
But I feel this like that
She gets worn
urgency.
out.
Like it feels like I get so anxious. I'm like, why is everybody
Totally.
moving? Should I be moving too? Why is everybody running around? Should I be running around too?
I like that shit.
That's my normal state.
No, but I like it. But like when I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking loser. Everyone's moving. and
You
I'm
do
not.
feel, it's easy to feel lazy
I'm
or
a
shit.
fucking
You're like,
piece of
Well,
shit.
and it forces you to really have a come to Jesus moment with yourself and be like, I will stand true in the amount of what I get done, despite all the feelings coming at me of like, you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
You have to really boldly go, no, you know what, I am. And that takes a lot of inner work.
yeah. How often for stand-up then, because stand-up here is completely different, obviously. It's
Yeah.
like there's a lot more celebrityism here. So
Yeah,
a lot
everyone's
more-
hot here.
Everyone's hot.
Every stand-up's hot.
It's crazy.
I'm like, damn, not a lot of hot stand-ups in New York. There's some, but like everyone's so hot here.
and
awesome.
everybody
The
has
Botox.
has a show.
Yeah, it looks good.
Fillers, it's
Well,
the
it's
tanning.
Yeah.
It's like well, not only that, but like most people have their own, their own platforms, their own podcasts, their own shows. They've been on movies. They've been
Yeah.
if you come to the Comedy Store, for instance, like you're gonna see a lineup of
Yeah.
straight back to back to back to back to back celebrities,
Just murderers. Yeah.
So as like a comedian who's not at that level yet but working, stand up, the Comedy Store is great for that.
Yeah.
But most big clubs like the Improv, Laff Factory, all these places are not. Like, it's harder, I think, for stand-ups to get stage time
Oh, okay.
here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, they're more exclusive. Like here, you have independently produced shows, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can do the hang here. Like there's not
yeah.
the other clubs, the Improv you can kind of hang because that bar area, but like the Suns, what's the one down the street, the
Factory.
Laugh Factory. There's not a hang there.
don't
Like the
hang
patio
there. Yeah.
here, it's so inviting. It's so I just love this club.
Yeah, there's people just getting high and smoking fucking hookah back there. You're like,
Yeah, it's the best.
I guess I'll just chill here.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing stand-up?
11 years.
That's not even that long, though.
No. Yeah, I've
really?
heard like 10 years is when you start getting good.
Yeah.
And I do feel that. Like it doesn't have to be that way, but when the 10-year mark, I'm like, oh, okay. That type of nerves that I used to have, but like that were tied with my self-esteem, that went away.
Yeah.
You still have nerves, but like it's more of an excitement to like structure your set. And I like being at the point where I can get really meticulous about the jokes and like every single beat or like how my hand gestures and stuff. I like being able to be picky, but you have to get through a lot of other things before you can get to there. So it's nice. Yeah, I like it.
For sure. Well, it's like even tomorrow night, you're doing an hour.
Yeah, I'm not
Right?
probably 45 to an hour, depending. I think they're going to add a couple people to the show, but yeah, I've been doing an hour on the road, and I love it. It's a totally different animal. It's a different dance, and
Headlining?
the callbacks and it's basically like I was talking to Dan Soder once, and I was like, "What's the trick to doing an hour?" And he's like, "It's 3 20-minute sets." I'm like, "Oh." And then if you make the middle, so the first and the second one, the first and third of my hour have like very related themes, and then you hammock it in with something kind of different. It's really fun. It's like a little science experiment to put it together.
Yeah. No, it takes that's why I'm like, to me, because here, a lot of people, if they're doing hour practice sets or whatever, they're gearing up to do a special. Because
Yeah.
everyone here, not everyone, but a lot of comics are producing their own specials. Because
Yeah.
obviously networks are not picking up
Nope.
specials.
Yeah.
So is that something that you want to do? Or maybe you have done that and I'm just not aware of it.
No, Corinne and I produced a comedy special, our special day that we paid for. We each did half-hour sets, and we did our live touring show involved a lot of audience interaction, so we incorporated that into the special. So it was really fun. We're very proud of it. I recorded this hour as an album in May in Philly that I want to release. It was filmed, but I think there's something to just audio for a stand-up special. Like
Sure, okay.
I just hear the jokes differently when it's just audio. I'm not distracted, especially And I hate that I internalize this, but when it's a woman, I'm like, what? Oh, she's wearing that, or I'm like, fucking shut the fuck up, Krystyna. When I'm just totally, but when I listen to just the voice, I'm actually listening to like the art form and not all the other things that my like monkey mind is going. And so I love listening to comedy albums. So I was like, I want to mainly push the album part of this. They filmed it too. They want to put it up on YouTube, but I'm like, I'm going to push it as an album.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are, even with podcasts. Speaking of podcasts, so you were doing the podcast before you were doing stand up, or is it the other?
Started the same time.
You started the same time.
Yeah, I was maybe doing stand up for a year, and then the podcast happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I read a little bit. And were you podcast at that time? Were they just coming out? Because even now, podcasting to me is like, wait, what? The whole frontier. It's insane.
Everyone has one.
Everyone's got one.
We kind of thought everyone had one when we started, but my God, were we wrong? No one had one technically when you compare it to today. So yeah, it wasn't the market wasn't as saturated. So I think that's part of too. Like it's luck, timing, and talent. You know,
yeah.
I think those all three. When they're all three there, that's when you go up into the sky.
Yeah.
For a project, yeah.
Yeah. Well, did you? So taking it back a little bit, because I obviously researched you before I met you, because I've never met you, but I know who you are. So I guess, how did that happen with you and Corinne? I know SNL was involved.
Yes.
And would you? Before, I know you
interned there.
You interned with SNL. Was SNL ever a dream?
Yes.
Of yours? Is it still a dream of yours?
No, I was up until like a couple of years ago. It was, but now it's not. But I still love that show. Oh my God, it's such a special place in my heart. I wanted to be on SNL when I was a teenager, and I went to Penn State my first year of college, and then I thought it was one of those. You know how people say like they get like a download? So I didn't know what that wasn't a word that was discussed when this happened, but I got like a thought just put in me of like, you need to move to New York and go to college there, because if you intern at SNL, that's how you get an in. You do a great job, and you like are memorable, and you're very respectful and very like on top of your shit. You can have some sort of in there. So I'm like, okay, fuck, I don't want to go to New York, but I did. Mm-hmm. And I interviewed for them a couple times, didn't get it. And then I finally got it my senior year. And at the end of that internship, that last episode, they have a big party on the ice skating rink that interns can go to. And I asked one of the writers how to get on the show, like, what's the best path? And he said stand up. And he was an improv guy. So I thought he was going to say UCB. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I don't want to do stand up. But I signed up for my first time ever on stage was a bringer show. I didn't do open mics. I didn't know about open mics. I was like, I'm gonna call all my friends and tell them to come to the show. I'm gonna make up 5 minutes. The balls you have when you're in your early 20s it's beautiful, and you got to take advantage of it. You got to kind of blindly. You're a kamikaze pilot, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm gonna do it, and you just go.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
No, if it makes you feel any better, I had to. I've told this story before on this podcast, but I had to, or maybe it was on. Anyway, I had to audition. To get on a bringer show.
Wow.
The very first show I ever did.
Wow.
There was an ad in Backstage West.
Wow.
I went to one of those, like, a newsstand.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine who was in improv at Second City, who I taught, like I was a student of his. And he's like, well, if you want to do stand-up, just look in the backstage. I'm sure there's some classifieds of shows you could go to. So I went, and it said, like, audition to perform at the Comedy Store. I was like, shit. Damn, bitch.
Yeah.
And the audition was at a coffee shop at Buzz Coffee.
Whoa.
That's no longer even there. But and they had like this little bullshit, board stage. And I had to bring a headshot, Krystyna.
Wow. Headshot. Who was there from the store that was watching these auditions?
There was no one from the store. It was
just a lie?
People who
some guy.
It was two people who.
It was some guy.
No, it was Vargas. And who's the lady with the high-pitched voice, John? Doesn't matter. They were two people who produced a show, a bringer show. No, there were Slugworth.
The bringer people were making you audition. Oh,
yes.
That's fucking fucked up and hilarious.
Now I know, but
you don't, yeah. You don't know.
Time, Like
Yeah.
I had nothing. I had never done stand up.
Yeah.
I did all my background was in improv, and like I worked at Zanies in Chicago.
Okay, so you had a comedy background then. I didn't even have that.
Okay,
I just had a dream.
better. Well, that's
A hope and a wish.
yeah. Do you remember what that was? I mean, my first bringer show was Hell on Earth. Was
Yeah.
yours decent? Did you get laughs?
I think I did. I was so nervous. It was the most nervous I've ever been,
Yeah.
probably in my life. My comedy partner, Corinne, was there. She was one of the people I asked to come. That was like the first time I ever saw her outside of I met her at an internship 3 years prior. That was the first time I really ever saw her outside of work. I invited her to the show, and then afterwards she was like, that was good. Do you want to work together? And I was like, yeah. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Sure. And then we just started, we started our comedy duo called Sorry About Last Night.
So from one bringer show,
Yeah.
that's how this whole relationship literally.
It started at Lehman Entertainment, the internship I was at.
Yeah.
So she was like my boss at the internship 'cause she's a couple of years older than me. And then what really like made her reach out to go, do you want to start working together and stuff? Was I brought her to that bringer show. So I couldn't have done that bad.
I know. I was like,
I blacked out.
Yeah.
That's how nervous I was.
Yeah.
Blacked out. I was 22, blacked out. Soberly blacked out.
Yeah, it's because
sorry,
then soberly, and then on top of that, it was pitch black, and I couldn't see anything. We were just watching a show on again Netflix last night about free divers,
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
and it's like these divers who go down, 150 feet down into the ocean, and it's like just pitch black, and they have nothing around them, and they see one little light, and I was like, and it's so silent.
Yeah.
no
It's like you're in outer space.
That's exactly what they said. It's like being in space.
Wow.
Which made me think of like when you were talking, I was like, that's what my experience was the first time I was on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're on stage and you're going, why the fuck am I doing this? Like that's a interesting moment of like being there and you're like, I can't back out of this. It's like the nightmare of like I show up to a party naked and you're in a dream and you're like, oh no, and you're so embarrassed, and it feels like that times 10.
Yeah. Hell on earth.
Yeah.
But somehow it worked out, and Corinne was like, yo,
Yeah.
let's do this thing together. Because so then you guys became it was a stand-up duo.
Comedy duo. So we would do sketches and stuff, like videos. We would have like camcorders, video shit. Yeah. We would ask, there was our first video, it was the hottest day in New York, and we just asked New Yorkers, is it hot enough for you? 20 minutes, like not 20 minutes, like a minute of us. No, like 7 minutes. I forget. But it's just, I was asking people, how is it hot enough for you?
On the
The
street?
whole video.
Like on
Yeah.
the street
That's
interviews?
it. No follow-up question. Just, is it hot enough for you? Okay.
You're just like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
keep walking. Like,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long
You gotta
did
start
that-
somewhere.
No, I think it's great. I mean, because a lot of people are. I mean, that stuff on the street has been going on a long time.
Yeah.
way before you and I were even born. But like,
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see now. Like Hannah Berner, who I know who's
Yeah.
amazing. Like, but just seeing her do stand. Just people on the street stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so fun to watch. But yes, okay. So you guys did stuff on the street, did camcorder things. Was this when YouTube was blowing up, or was YouTube already?
It was around. I don't know that it was blowing up yet.
Did y'all's videos gain traction pretty quickly? No.
We would do we would watch the show Girls on HBO, and then we'd have like a commentary where we just called it Girls on Girls, and we just reviewed the show Girls. And I would edit it on iMovie, and I was like, this is so funny. No, it wasn't.
I still edit on iMovie. So
I mean, iMovie's great, but like I wasn't a good editor. I tried. It wasn't bad.
So you guys have been really in this combination of figuring out what's going to work for a long time
Oh yeah.
together.
Yeah. We'd been working together for a while, and then Guys We Fucked was the first thing that like popped.
And what I read was that was because Corinne went through a breakup, right? And this
Yeah.
idea spawned.
Yeah, she got dumped by somebody who she kind of thought at the time was like the love of her life, and I don't think she'd ever gotten dumped at that point, and it just sent her spiraling. And it was one of those breakups that you're like, you question everything. And so I think in an effort to get answers, but also like creating projects that I'm like, what's something I want to do? I would never have talked to half of those people that I fucked that we interviewed on the podcast had it not been for the show. So I'm like, this is really interesting. Like I would never have had these conversations before. Yeah. So then that's when podcasting was kind of relatively new, and there weren't a lot of intense conversations happening on podcasts yet. So I was like, oh, this is really kind of cool.
Cutting edge.
Yeah.
And so you had guys that you actually fucked on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And you went. Was it easy to get these guys to come on? And
because there was no video, yeah.
Oh, so it was just audio. So they were
It's just audio the way it should be. Frankly, like the video, you have to have video now. So I get it. It's like keeping up with the times, but it was such a pleasure to just have the audio and not worry about the video, not worry about what you're wearing and how you're sitting and your makeup and
all that shit.
Because that's not what matters in a podcast to me. Like you're a fly on the wall for a conversation. It's fine. We've certainly adapted to it, but that was one of the reasons they wanted to do it. You wouldn't see their faces, and a lot of them wanted a fake name.
Yeah,
and that was easy to do. All you had was their voice and what they said. So the privacy level of it was more than it is now. So we have an interview. The last guy I fucked that we interviewed was a porn star.
Oh.
He was already in the public limelight. And so I was like, he didn't care. Like he was like, yeah, I'll fucking go on your podcast. So it's kind of difficult to do. Like I have a boyfriend now and I don't want him to go on the show and he wouldn't want to either. Cause it's like, now that we've done it for so long and people try to like fuck guys that we've broken up with and it like really is gut wrenching. And so you're like, okay, I want to keep this to myself.
How do you know that information?
Because they'll show us the DMs. The guys. Like we had an episode that was like the podcast episode heard around the world. We just called it the breakup episode.
Yeah.
I broke up with my boyfriend of 7 years. Corinne broke up with her boyfriend of 3 years. We actually broke up with them at the same time, did not tell the other person, and then just kind of like reeled in it. And then eventually I texted her and I was like, I broke up with Steve. And she goes, oh, I broke up with my boyfriend. I wasn't going to say anything, but I guess I'll say something because you broke up with yours. And so we were reeling and they're like, we should just do an episode that's just me and you talking about it. And we did. I still hear to this day, like, oh, I broke up with this toxic person who like abused me. We were just in this cycle of abuse with each other. And I listened to that episode and I got the fuck out of there. And I'm like, yes. But after that episode, they like Steven told me this and then Corinne's ex showed her the DMs from women. I'm like, we were just crying saying how much like this is hard. Like, can you not try to fuck them? I mean, it's a free country, but like that's rude.
I mean, people don't care. Like the fucking
that's
happening
terrible.
in the human race right now. It's like it's par for the course. I'm like, okay, that all tracks.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing. I've never thought of that. Well, one, because sexual. Have you ever had like guys and girls we fucked? Have there been women?
I've had sex with women, but I've not had them on because I don't know their name. And it was a long time ago.
Well, no, it would be a lot of talking. There'd be
it would
lot
be
more
talking. Which is kind of nice. I'm a talker.
I mean, yeah, sorry. Well, that's good because dudes will let you talk because they're like, whatever. You're like, okay, I guess I'll do the talking.
Yeah.
But so that's what made me think. I was like, oh, because I mean, I've been with my wife is like a gold star lesbian, never been with dudes, and so I was like, you should go on Guys We Fucked because it'd be a short conversation. There'd be none. There'd be none.
Well, we don't. It's fortunately the topics are not limited to fucking guys.
Totally not. No. It's very all inclusive. It just made me. Because I've been with both for majority of my life. And it just made me go like, oh, I wonder if there's like girls on that show. And then my head went to like, it would be I don't know if you could do it. Because all of my guy exes, I still talk to.
Oh, nice.
And we're very cool.
That's awesome.
Very good. One of them's married. I mean, it's whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's cool.
That's nice.
The women that I've dated. Oh my God.
Yeah, men can hurt you physically, but boy, can women hurt you spiritually, emotionally, and
Punishers, dog. They would slit my throat if I saw them on the street. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why is that, Sarah?
Because women hold grudges. I don't do that. Yeah. I
think women are angrier than men.
Yeah.
But our tactics of expressing that are like, they can be pretty explosive.
Yes. No, and we just hold on. We harbor so much. We'll hold.
Yeah, that's I think part of the reason. It's like if you're not used to like saying something as it comes up, that energy ain't going anywhere, and it's building up. And you have like a bank account of shit energy that you're just gonna like explode onto people.
And it's not good.
No, it's very bad.
It's not. So it's just I wish there are women that I've had in my life that I wish I could talk to. I don't have anything against them, but
sometimes people like if they were hurt by a parent and you embody that parent, they're projecting that parent on you. It has nothing to do with you, but they're not budging.
Yeah.
And it's like, ever since I really got into like childhood trauma and what that is, and then most people have it, and you're like, oh, okay. The whole theory of like projecting, like when somebody yells at you for something that they're doing, like you're like, what the fuck is this? But it happens a lot. I hear about it happening a lot. I've experienced it happening a lot. And you're like, what's happening here? But really you're just getting that energy out from whoever dicked you over earlier, because it has to go somewhere. But it's, ideally it doesn't go on to an innocent party.
Yeah. No, and that's why I love your podcast, because one, it delves into it's not just about fucking. It's about
everything. Like everything.
Everything. And it's,
And vulnerability. Like fucking is so vulnerable, and sex is so like beautiful and connective. It can be so many different things, but like at its core, it's really like explosively, I don't know, you just feel like alive in a way. And so, but there's so many facets of sex, how you feel about yourself, your past, how you express yourself in your, like everything, that it's like, wow, you think you're going to run out of things to talk about. You really don't.
No, well, because it's relationships, right? And like we all come from, like my parents have been divorced 5 times and separated
to each other?
11 times from one another.
Whoa, that fascinates me.
Crazy, bitch.
Marrying the same person again,
and again.
Fascinating. I've heard a lot. I've heard a couple times of those stories. What is that about?
Oh, and we were born and raised Catholic. This was in the Catholic church.
Well, what did your dad do in between those divorces?
Well, he would marry other.
Get it in?
He would what? No, he would just get engaged to other.
Get engaged?
He's been engaged.
Well,
to
your dad has a lot of love to give.
Yo,
and married.
Engaged to 2 other women, and then finally married another woman, and that lasted. I'm not putting my dad on blast. Like,
no, I mean, honestly, I'm fascinated. I would love to interview him. That's amazing.
Me too.
Because it's like, what I'm just so curious about. There's very clear reasons why he did that, and I want to know what they are. That's fascinating.
It's fascinating to me because I've struggled in relationships for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I can't imagine that model is a healthy one. Yeah.
Have you?
No, I have. You know that I have. I'm very open, and I have nothing to hide about it. Like,
relationships are hard.
They're very difficult.
Because when you have walls up and you don't know you have walls up, and you're like, fuck, and you're like, I can be stubborn, and I have a temper, and I can act so childish, and so like, I see being self-aware is a blessing and a curse, because like, I see ways that I'm being like manipulative, and I'm like, what Krystyna, what are you doing? That's not how you get. You just ask for a thing. Don't like try to make them guess and then get mad.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
You're so self-aware.
It's just fucking exhausting.
I mean, no, it is. It's nuts, because that's what we were in the very beginning. I was like, yo, I've done a lot of work. I'm like, I've been sober for 21 fucking years.
That's amazing.
I've done therapy. I've done trauma work.
Nice.
Name it. I've sat in ashrams.
Yeah, shit.
Some shit.
Good. Good for you.
And it's just in the things that I still carry, and it's no blame. Like my parents did the best they could with their grandparents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they had it probably worse than we had it. So it's like
100.
Breaking the cycle is a very powerful thing. Mm-hmm. But to break the cycle, it really entails someone being an asshole to you and you not being an asshole to somebody else after that. Like you not getting angry. You have to go, I'm not catching it. That is very difficult.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Well, and it's that my pattern, was just like my dad.
Yeah.
I'm very much my dad. And my mom, both of them were like that, actually. Because, I mean, if they weren't...
Your mom got shacked up with other people, too?
No, my mom... See, this is a difference. My mom would date no one.
Huh.
Like, she would... Nope. Like,
was she waiting for your dad to come back? Or was she like, I'm cool?
She was cool, but she always wanted to get back when he was dating another girl.
Oh, yeah.
She had that, like, I don't...
It's like, I don't think he's hot. I do. Wait, I think he's hot, too.
Mm-hmm. Which I didn't realize. I didn't find that out about my mom until, like, as of late.
Wow.
Because the other thing about that particular dynamic is no one ever talked about. There were so many leavings that no one talked about it.
And kids know everything.
We know.
If your mom can walk in the room going hi, and you just got into a fight and you're really mad, like there's that creates like this friction of like, why aren't you being the way I know you feel, like what, and then so it begins.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I get really passionate with my hands when I'm sorry.
Me too.
I get so excited about stuff because it's the meat of like what makes people tick, and it's frustrating because, like I said, I know it's there.
Yeah,
I've done work on it. But it's like, I probably till the end of time, till I'm dead in the ground, I'll be working on this thing.
Yeah.
And so, but that's the thing. Like, I remember the communication, because no one spoke, it was either yelling or silence. And so I knew Dad wasn't coming back if there was like an outfit on the bed with a note. And I was like, oh, bummer.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah. And but that was the crazy thing is because then I didn't.
And he would come back. How confusing that must have been as a kid.
Well, I didn't even resent him. Isn't that crazy? I resented my mom. I was like, girl, get your shit. Because I was like, why are you letting him back in the,
it takes two to come back, and both of them could have said no, but then they both said yes.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that's confusing.
It's so tricky.
Yeah.
But these are the things that this is why relationship your podcast in very particular, I think obviously is so popular because, it's the one people can do so well in every aspect of their life.
Romantic relationships magnify your shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, I thought that was hidden. And it's crazy because especially at the beginning of a romance, you just put on the best version of yourself
for years.
Oh,
for a couple years.
Yeah. If you're really into it, if you're real good at it, a couple years.
Yeah.
And then the cracks start coming through, and you're like, fuck. And then you're like, oh wait, what? And so it's and it's gut wrenching, and it's like it also I find so interesting where you can never hate someone as much as you like. As a romantic partner, out of all the people you can hate in your life, like your coworker, your mom, your dad, a romantic partner, you have this ability to hate them so much, and it's very perplexing and interesting to me. I don't know.
No, I know. Ask my wife; she's sitting right there.
Me. Oh,
I tell you what,
nothing.
That you hate some of your exes, or they hate you?
No, I'm just.
But it's like a rage thing. I'm like, why with love? I think because it's so vulnerable. And the second you get hurt, all that safety you felt gets you feel like it just gets drained out into the swamps, and you feel robbed and depleted and
betrayed and
all
of it.
A romantic betrayal.
How dare you? You should know.
Yeah.
You know me better, and then you act this way.
Yeah.
You do this thing.
It's
go fuck yourself.
It's gut wrenching.
Well, no, I'm just it's like a whole.
I don't think I've ever been as mad at anybody in my life as I have in previous. Not every romantic partner, but a romantic partner has the ability to kind of spark this anger in me that I'm like, well, I don't like that. I don't want that there, but it's there. We all have it.
Yeah. Do you ever talk about your relationship? How long have you been with your boyfriend?
Oh, we say 1.5 years. It's so funny. It started out super toxic. So if somebody would have written in and been like, this is a situation I'm in, I'd be like, bitch, run. What are you doing, you dumb bitch? We say lovingly, we say on GUYS We fuck, don't be a dumb bitch, meaning because we all are capable of it. Going back to somebody who is like, I don't like you like that. And you're like, but maybe you will,
Yeah.
But I think we went on a date 4 or 5 years ago, and we were both like, okay, we both got out of 7-year relationships at the same time, but mine, he had some healing to do from his. Yeah. I broke up with him. It was sad, but there wasn't things I had to look at about myself. There were some things, but it wasn't as earth shattering. Oh my God, I made these decisions. How could I have done that? That wasn't a part of my breakup. So I was kind of healed a little bit faster. And so we started seeing each other, and I was like, I don't know about him. Very handsome. He's a singer from Dublin, Irish man. Ooh. Irish men and women. Irish women fucking rule. I don't think there's a stronger female population on the planet than Irish women. Truly, I've never experienced anything like it. But Irish men are very just so charming and handsome and good storytellers. And anyway, and so we dated, and then I started to really like him, and I think he wanted to be in a hoe phase a little bit. Okay. And I talk about my I'm not good enough abandonment, all that bullshit that I didn't work on yet, that part of myself. And so I got so angry. There was one night where we were at a bar, and I was like, he was with another woman, and he had every right to be. We weren't dating. And I was like, fuck you. And I was just being so crazy. A lot of crazy came out with me towards him, and I was perplexed by it. I'm like, why am I acting like this? This is weird. And I probably freaked him out. And then I just felt very strongly about him. And I'm like, I don't know why this is. And so, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take my own advice. If it's meant to be, it will happen. Back the fuck off, Krystyna. Stop. And I did. And then we ended up dating. And now we're together a year. So it's been a year and a half.
Was it that age-old thing because you stopped pursuing him and then now he's the guy and he needs the chase?
Perhaps. I think we got to a place where we were friends, but the whole time I was pretending that like that's all I wanted, even though I wanted more. And I remember one time I told him, I was like, I'm in love with you. And he was like, he was so honest with me, but he straight up told me, I don't think of you when you're not here. And I was like, all right, yeah, no, I'm glad you told me that. I'm glad you were honest. That hurts, but I need to hear that because that's how you felt.
Okay, honesty.
I walked out of his house. I'm like, oh, that sucked. But I did appreciate it. I'm like, okay, time to move on, girl. Don't do that. And so, but then we just kind of came back together and just, like developed. We didn't fall in love, but we like uncovered it. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yes.
It's very interesting. I've never experienced anything like that. But he's the best.
Sounds healthy. I'm like,
it's pretty healthy. It was so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if it starts out toxic like that, where do you go from there? But like I say, it's really healthy and lovely.
And does doing the podcast and constantly giving sex advice, relationship advice, life advice, do you find that's helping you in your own
100%?
Relationship?
Yes, 100%. Not just with him, but like how I act towards like women in the world and stuff. Like we talked a lot about like pregnancy. When a woman's pregnant, there's baby showers, and then when the baby comes, everyone just celebrates the baby, and people kind of like leave the mom in the dust a little bit. And so we've had conversations about like postpartum depression, but really it's more like a woman is pregnant, she has this baby, it's a huge surge of hormones, and then everybody's off doing their own thing and she's alone with the baby 24 hours a day. If she's lucky, if her partner can have like leave from his or her work, like, but that's like, why do we say postpartum depression like it's some unfortunate thing that happened to you? Of course it's going to happen to you. Of course you're going to have depression after that. So certain things like that. So it's changed the way I interact with like my friend had a baby. My friend from college had a baby, 3 months old. I went to go see her and I bought all these presents, but I only got stuff for her. I'm like, your baby's fine. Your baby doesn't need a dress. You need like really nice slippers and lotion and like just stuff that I know she would appreciate. And she was like, because we had discussions about it on the podcast, and I was like, oh, I want to kind of change the way I operate in these like societal norm situations, you know? Yeah. And she was like, thank you so much for like getting me a gift and not my fucking kid. Because like she'll never wear all the dresses that people got for her. And I'm like, yeah, the baby doesn't need a gift.
Yeah.
You need a gift. You fucking pushed out a baby. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of like you see the ways with it where women just get kind of slighted, or their experience just doesn't really get the respect it deserves. Yeah. And that pisses me off. And so I like the way like Corinne really kind of leads the charge. She really gives a shit about how, and so do I, but how women are treated in the world and where we are mistreated. And we got to fucking nip that in the bud immediately. So that's changed how I interact with people.
I'm like you were so good at the message that you just gave that I was like fully entrenched.
Thank you.
I was like, damn. And my mind started going to like, is that just a cultural thing that we do that with these baby showers?
Yeah. Because there are cultures that they like really pamper the mother after the baby is born. And if you think about it, I don't have kids, but I'm like, if you think about it, like, the birth is a fucking traumatic, physically, possibly emotionally. I don't know. I've never been through it. But like, if you have on the other side, you know, you're going to have this community of friends and family to like love you and take care of you. And then so you could take care of your baby. Like that feels better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think, it's one of those things that I think being a woman, sometimes going through doing womanly things, which is like, you know, Jen and I, you know, tried to have a baby.
Oh, wow.
You know, but it wasn't successful. Because, well, one, we only was able to try it once, but I didn't talk about it. I was very like, this is actually the first time I've even said it publicly.
Wow. Yeah.
You have to be very, very proud.
Because that's very stressful. Like
It was, and it's amazing. Like, just listening to you talk. One, that's the thing. Like, you just being honest, you know, it allows other people the invitation to be like, to share, like, oh, yeah, you're right. Whole shit. I actually tried to have a baby. Just once, because it was very expensive for us. But, like, you know, just that process alone, you know, the hormones, and then being told that you can't have it. And then, you know, you're at an age where you're like,
right.
This is it, sister, you know, and obviously people now are having babies. Naomi Campbell just had one at like
she 50, did?
Girl,
Holy shit, good for her.
knows? I mean,
Wow.
celebrities can have them. I don't know if they're having surrogate. I don't know.
It's wild. It's so interesting how the U.S. government wants babies, but when you want to get pregnant a different way, they're like, that'll be $50,000.
Girl, minimum.
Fuck you.
Minimum.
Well, it's not the way the Bible says.
Right, I forgot. You know what? I didn't read it. That's my brought
But
up.
it's not even all
Same
just
thing.
same sex. It's hetero couples that have fertility issues. Like it's not just
Right. It's like why aren't we investing money in that and then we're forcing young women to have babies that they don't want to have. And there's these women that want to have babies. They're like, I am a grounded, self-actualized human being. I have a career. I want a baby. And we're like, you make them go through hoops and pay like 8 college tuitions for a fucking kid. Like, it just makes no sense.
I know. And then you see like, a 14-year-old heroin addict having a baby.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? It's just no offense. I don't want to get.
No, but like, or like somebody who was man, the emails we get a lot of crazy emails, and a lot of them have to do with like rape and unwanted pregnancies. Like of like 15-year-olds will email us like, my friend got pregnant. She doesn't want to tell her parents. She's running in our middle school's track and field, punching herself in the stomach, drinking vodka. What do I do?
The fuck?
Yeah. Yep. And they don't know there's funds to get, and they don't know, like in certain states you have to have parent permission, certain states you don't have. So there's all these rules and stuff, and you wouldn't know until, someone tells you. But it's like, man, they really want people who don't want to have a baby to have a baby, and people who do want to have a baby.
Make it very difficult.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
I could talk forever on this, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to do our little no-look drawing situation. And then it takes a second.
Okay.
No stress, I promise.
Okay, so
how this goes, Krystyna, is so we do the no-look drawing, and then
Okay.
you're adorable. Are you good on time?
Oh yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't smear my lipstick all over my face because I've done that before.
Good, yeah.
Thanks.
So you look at it once, and then I'll draw you, and then you draw me. And if you know what, you can draw an apple. It doesn't. It's okay.
I'll try my best.
Yeah. So all right. So I looked at once, and all right.
Okay.
So while we do this, I add an extra layer, and I always ask.
Should I be drawing you now too?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
I always ask my guests. Obviously, the podcast is called Not Cool, so I ask you because you are cool. You're very cool.
Thank you.
You're doing a lot of cool shit. But
you.
what's the most not cool thing about you?
So much.
I know.
There's so much. Not cool. So like, how do we define not cool? Like dorky, or like, yo, that wasn't cool. Like that was fucked up, or that was rude. You know what I mean? Like, how would you define not cool?
I would say something about like how people perceive me. Like, oh, they think I'm really cool, but actually,
Oh, right.
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 Like a dorky thing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really into like ectoplasm and stuff around like the science around ghosts and psychic phenomena. And I think it's really cool. And I purchased, I think this is cool, but like maybe somebody could say it's not cool. I purchased this camera, this type of Polaroid camera from the 80s, and a specific type of Polaroid film that they don't make anymore. So I could like try and get ghosts on camera, and I'll spend my nights like smoking weed, lighting sage, and taking pictures of the smoke, seeing if a ghost pops up.
Has it worked? Has it worked?
Not, you know what? One time, I can't find the Polaroid when I moved, but very clearly the S and P were in the smoke, and I'm like, that. And I showed it to my friends, and they're like, what the fuck?
Who's
That's cool.
S&P?
So my boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend, that's his initials. But I don't know why that would be. I wasn't trying to. He was in the back, like he wasn't even. We'd broken up, and I was fucking all these people. I was excited, so he wasn't even like in my thoughts, and he didn't die. Like he's alive. So I'm like, I don't know what that's about. But it was so clear. It was all this, when you light sage, and it was just an S and a P. I'm like, what?
Like
that's
salt
cool.
And pepper. I'm going through everything with an S and a P. I'm like,
Yeah.
salt and pepper.
I don't know.
Cereal, paternal, fucking
Spicy pepperoni,
spicy
spicy poop,
And
like diarrhea.
here's the thing. That's actually very cool. And again, that's one thing because I need you to start the Ghost podcast, UFO podcast today.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow, today.
Yeah.
Because I also am super interested because I've watched all of the ghost shows, like ghost documentaries that are out there, the ones that have all the special lighting, the special equipment, the special sonar.
Yeah, to me,
all of it.
That's the angle. So can I explain why? Oh, sorry, go ahead. And then, but I have I'll tell you what really got me into it. Other than
okay, because I'll tell you, I've watched Jack Osbourne did a show.
Yeah.
Who else did a show?
Do you think that was real though?
Dumb. Can I tell you something? Okay, they kept the
say
teaser like, oh, next step, after the commercial break, and they would show like
and nothing happened.
Something shaking. And nothing.
All you hear is a bunch of beeps and like a camera drops. You're like, did you see that? Like,
yeah.
I didn't, as the viewer, see it.
Nothing. I watched every episode, Krystyna. Nothing ever happened, and I was like, you got paid to? What the?
So this is one of the most powerful experiences I've ever witnessed with mediumship and why I'm so obsessed with it. Okay. Laura Lynn Jackson was featured on this docuseries on Netflix, Surviving Death. It's every episode covers a different aspect of death. One of the episodes was on mediums. I think she was in 2 of them. I loved her. She was just really like grounded and very sweet. She used to be a school teacher, and you watched her do a reading with this woman whose daughter died, and that's really heavy. And I don't know if it was suicide or what. And the reading, I was like, what the fuck? And so I followed her. I read her books. I took some classes. She does these 90 people readings in Long Island, Laura. That's where she's from. I've been to 3 of them. The first one I went to, I'll never forget, because I don't have a tragic death in my life. Like, I'm very lucky in that way. So I'm not trying to talk to anybody. I'm just obsessed with this. Like, the fact that we can do it is so cool. Yeah. And I watched this woman. I was sitting front row. I got there first, front row, and because I just wanted to see her do it, And there was this woman there with her, what seemed like her son. She was pissed. She had like not a school shooter vibe, but she was angry. She was seething. Oh boy. And I'm assuming it's because people come there. It's very heavy. People come there like their children have died. Like it's that. I can't imagine what that must feel like. Laura is reading people. She gets to this woman and she's just, her energy was just like, I could fucking pick up a gun and shoot everybody. Like she was so angry. And that was probably also me like being like very sensitive to whatever, I don't think that's how far her rage went, but Laura got to her and she was like, your son is here. And she just starts, and he died of a drug overdose. And she's like a very sweet woman. I've watched her in classes before, and she got like really like, listen, bitch. She didn't say that, but she was like, you are not living your life because you are kicking yourself thinking you could have done something. Nothing you could have. Your son would have overdosed if you were home. Your son would have overdosed if he was away, if he was overseas. He would have overdosed. You need to get over that. Because you're missing out on this son's life. Like she gave her like a talking to, which is not normally how she talks. And then she said some things that were personal that I didn't get, but she clearly understood that it was undeniable. You watched this woman, you watched 800 pounds lift off of her shoulder. It was like one of those scenes in a movie where a boy in a wheelchair comes up to the pastor and he touches his shoulders and now the boy can walk. That's what I saw. That it was a miracle what I saw. You watched her smile. Her face, she looked more beautiful. Her face looked like angelic. You were like, oh my God. For 1 second, you were just this, like, felt like her skin was gray. Like she was just, and she walked out of that room like happy. And you were like, everybody in that room knew if you didn't have that reading, the rest of your life would have been fucking awful. The rest of your life is going to be better because you had that interaction. That is why I'm obsessed with this shit. That is the most powerful, potent thing. And the last thing I'll say, because this is a really interesting topic, I really think that like hearing these stories can really help people like kind of just put context to their own life. There was a crew member for the Wait What podcast that I'm doing about these topics. He was like, I have a story to tell you. He met this woman who studied near-death experiences. There's about a handful of people, maybe 100, that they were studying. They wanted to know every detail about their near-death experience. Most of them saw the white light. Most of them had a conversation with somebody, didn't know who. Some of it was a family member. But a big chunk of them were asked the exact same question in the exact same way. And that question was, how have you loved? Ooh. And that, like, people don't, I've heard those words before, but never strung together like that. And I'm like, that is what it's all about, is like love. Yeah. And when your family's members, your loved ones pass away, like they don't want you to be sad. Like we carry all this bullshit on us from trauma, from like crazy heartbreaks and all this stuff, but we can release it. We can release ourselves. You never need a medium to do it. But like, people kind of assume that you do because they don't know how to weigh in. But like, we are all so much more powerful than we could ever know. And I feel like that's the thing that I'm really interested in people understanding about themselves.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So
I'm like obsessed with this shit.
no, I am. No, I mean, because
I think it's really powerful, you know?
it's a chase of yeah, because this life is weird. Like,
It's fucking wild.
So
It's dark, it's silly, it's fun, it's boring, it's awful, it's...
but are you like, because intensity wise, I relate to you so much.
So intense.
I have so much, like, no, it's amazing. Like, I'll wake up one day, it's just so existential. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Like, it's not even 8:30 in the morning. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, isn't this weird?
It's so weird. Being a person's so weird and uncomfortable.
Crazy. Like, I'll just look at the moon. I'm like, we're on a fucking planet. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that's
same.
a planet. Fucking.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind sometimes that we think we're so important. I'm like, do you know how small? And then you start thinking of like, and especially like, once you have something big happen, like my mom passed, that was the biggest thing that's happened to me.
Yeah, that's earth shattering. That's like, whew.
It is, but it also makes you go like, oh, hold up. Oh, okay. We are not here for a long time. Like this is a minute. So what are we? And it's also too, like I know that it's been told to me before, but like you can't take it with you. Like shit means nothing. These
Not a
things mean
god,
nothing.
but only thing that means anything is love.
Yes.
That's it.
Because that's what
The love with a pet, your love with your wife, the love with even the love with like a coworker that you just adore and you light up when you see them. Like that's what it's about. And even the people who challenge you, make you angry and you hate and you're like, fuck you, I hate the way you're full of hatred. That's also really important because that puts a mirror to yourself of like, I gotta look at some stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a lifetime, like you said, like your whole life you're gonna be doing the work.
Mm-hmm. But it's also too but I think I'm also obsessed with it and like why I went to the medium because I definitely know like this isn't it. Like I really
Thank God, right?
Yeah. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I just because you do feel like there's something else happening here. Like, and we also talked about UFOs and aliens. And it's like, yeah, no shit. Like, the very fact that I don't know. Again, it's a hot topic right now, but Chris, for some reason, like it's coming out, like everything, but it's been going on for a long time.
A long ass time, yeah. It's cool to hear people talking about it, though. I love it. It's like less weird because the reason I talk about all this stuff all the time is because I've had so many experiences where people are like, I've never told anybody this, but I can talk to ghosts or whatever. I'm like, you were sitting on that? That's so cool. And he's like, like a lot of my friends, a lot of them are male. And I'm like, what? How have you not said anything? And they're like, I don't know. People think I'm weird and I think it's weird. I'm like, it's not weird. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason why I like talking about it. Because people come out and they're like, wait, I've seen this. I've seen a spaceship. I've seen something. And you're like, whoa. We got to share these stories. We got to share them.
Just a deeper connection that's like, because you live in New York, we live in LA. It's like, it's a very surface way, which is a very disconnected, lonely way of like the humanity's gone.
Yeah,
Everything's transactional, and that feels really sad to a lot of fucking people.
It is sad.
And so it's very isolating for a lot of people, and then people get isolated, and then they think they're the only ones that are thinking that. It's like, no, you're not.
No,
like,
not at all.
We are all like, what in the fuck is going on?
I know, honestly, yes.
Like in some way, you know what I mean? In some way, everybody's having a trip of their own, and however it's personal to them. So I think that's what's amazing about having those conversations, and it's fun. Like it's
so
seeking more of like, this isn't it. So what else? And then there's a what else after that, and then there's a what else.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, again, there's my existentialism. I'm like, and then it's like space.
Totally. No, and then your brain, you're like, my head hurts.
My head
I'm
hurts.
thinking about concepts that I'm just like, they're making me dizzy.
Yep. And then that's why I just bring it all back to primary colors and painting, which brings me back to something super simple. So here is your, this is not, actually it might be
That's
my most
good.
accurate. The teeth are not accurate. I promise to God, they are closer together.
Wow, you didn't look it down once?
No. But I've done this a few times.
Okay, right, that's true.
Multiple times. And at least, well, okay. They all look alike, but yours is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. That's not bad.
I like it.
All right, let's see.
I drew you with like sun and
girl.
birds. I drew sunshine.
Yep, that all
cute.
tracks. Yep, that's about it. I don't know
Mermaid hair and sun.
what's gonna happen when I shave my head off one day, because that's
That's my dream.
yours too.
Yeah, because my
have
hair is such a
luscious-
big, like, my hair is huge usually, and I just want to just shave it off. Sinead O'Connor is like
R.I.P.
one of the most bad bitches on the earth, and yeah.
Well, I think your hair is one of the things I also wanted to say, but we won't. But your hair is deliciously gorgeous.
Thank
I
you.
am obsessed with curly hair. And sometimes there was photos of you obviously online. You have like a really beautiful curly hair, and it's like big.
Yeah, I got it like
funny.
I take a pick to it, and I get it like fucking huge. Yeah,
I love that
Yeah.
shit. The wilder to me, the better.
totally. Yeah.
And then there was ones of like the straight hair, and I was like, beautiful, but I just love that wildness.
Yeah. Once I did the work on myself, I was like, oh, I'm comfortable having big hair now.
So
I wasn't
pretty.
comfortable with it, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Like,
of course. Well, I am so glad you came. Where can people, obviously people know where you are, but just for the heck of it.
Follow me on social media at Krystyna Hutch. Guys We Fucked is my podcast. I have a Patreon where I lead like 4 times a month. I do group, like I put therapy in quotes because I'm not a licensed therapist. But I just like, it's just a Zoom where people just talk about shit and like whatever they want to talk about, like something going on in their life, and it's really a fascinating like window into humanity, and it's really fun. So if you want to sign up for that, you can. Patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson.
And you're a therapist, of course.
I mean, not licensed.
But still.
I have to legally say that because I don't want to get sued. But boy, doing Guys We Fucked for 10 years makes you feel like you are.
Well, you have loads and loads of experience. I'm so grateful that you took time to come on my podcast. You're doing such incredible, important, and having those big conversations that, men and women are, and everyone in between, whatever, that need to hear. Because, a lot of times people are sitting, in a trailer out in the middle of Kansas.
Thinking they're the only one.
What in the fuck am I? So it's so important. So thank you for everything that you do and all the
Thanks.
entertainment. And if you're in Los Angeles, go see her when she's here.
Yeah.
And if you're in New York, definitely go see her. Thank you so much for coming on Not Cool.
Thanks for having me.
You're the
This was
best. Thank you. Bye, girl. Hey, everybody. You want more Not Cool? Then go to Instagram and subscribe to Not Cool Pod. And or on my own personal page, which is Sarah Hyland Rosenstein.